This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Sakura and Rob. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
James is missing. He's at the Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna presser there in LA. So hopefully we'll get him into that fight as well. Guys, before we get into the heat of things, and I know you want to talk, Rob, especially about Haney. You're going to have to wait a minute, okay? Let's talk Fulton. Okay, I got to drop off, but I'll be right back with you guys.
Well, I mean, me personally, I was thoroughly impressed with Cool Boy Steph. I know that James is not so happy right now because he was going for Roman. And can you believe it, Rob? Earlier today and yesterday, he was saying to me, "Oh, Roman left him off the hook. Let him off the hook." Like, can you believe that? Like, I'm like, no, man, not as much as you talk about the footwork and the slick boxing and the lower weights got it all over the heavyweights as far as boxing IQ and blah, blah, blah. And he's sitting up there saying that Roman just let him off the hook. Are you buying it?
So I apologize, James. I'm a little bit angry today. I got my angry face on tonight because I woke up early this morning and chose violence. But we'll get to that. But no, he didn't let him off the hook. Fulton is a masterful boxer. That's what we saw. That's going to be the theme of tonight. That was the theme on Saturday. It was a masterful boxing class put on by two guys that are great technicians in the ring, great boxers. They were going up against some guys who weren't ready. Let's face it. And that's what happened with Daniel Roman. Just like I said last Tuesday, he wasn't in the same class as Fulton. I don't think anybody in the weight class in the division is. Brandon Figueroa has a shot or a puncher's chance, I should say, but he lost to him as well. So that's not what happened to me. Fulton put on a masterful class of boxing. Ramon could not handle it, and he got dominated. And it's as simple as that.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I just felt like he was not prepared with a plan B that was sufficient enough to handle anything that Stephen Fulton could bring out. And it was quite evident towards the end of the fight, right? When Cool Boy just made it real clear, like, okay, I'm making a decision to fight you in the pocket now, to brawl with you, to show you that I can out punch you even without using all my skills. I mean, so to me, at that point, it was clear there was nothing that Roman was ever going to be able to do with somebody as skilled as Cool Boy.
Exactly. There doesn't need to be. It doesn't matter if there's a plan A, plan B, or plan C for that matter. Fulton is the real deal, and he was steps above Ramon. And it showed that night. I don't know what. Well, I do know what James was thinking. He was trying to pick with his heart, and that's the problem, people. When you try to pick with your heart, you end up losing. Okay.
Or with Will Hunter, right? He likes to pick with his pockets because he picks people on who he's gonna bet for. Like what's the betting odds? So that also can work against you too.
Even if you want to pick with your pocket, you better not pick that. You better not pick it with your heart. You better be smart if you want to win that money. Otherwise, you fail to lose every time.
Well, we seem to have Kareem here with us tonight. Another nemesis of yours, Rob. I don't know how you seem to make everyone a nemesis. However, he does say that he wants to see the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Rolly rematch.
So I don't know if you heard me earlier, Kareem, but once again, I'm gonna reiterate. I'm a little angry tonight because I woke up this morning and chose violence. But just to answer the question, in the statement that you're making there, several outlets on the internet are saying hell to the no with this rematch. No, Raleigh couldn't hack it. He had his chance with Gervonta the first time, and he got knocked out like he was supposed to. Let's move on. Let's move on to bigger and better fights. We'll actually get to that later in the broadcast tonight, where Tank should end up at. But Raleigh is back to the drawing board, my man.
All right, so now he's chimed in on Cool Boy, and he thinks that he is hiding from Ruiz. Aleem
is a good fighter in that division. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one, Kareem. Aleem is a good fighter in that division, and stylistically, he might pose a threat. He might pose a threat to Steph Fulton, but it's a fight that I want to see. But the point in the topic of tonight is the masterful display that he put on for a Saturday night. And with that display, you can call whoever you want to else out there. He's not hiding from anybody. He's the division top dog.
Well, okay. Yeah, I do seem to think that Kareem, Aleem is a great fighter. I do want to see him in some more fights. But we just started seeing him in this division. And I kind of want to see him step up, and do some other fights first before he gets to go to Cool Boy, who's earned his right to be at the top of the field right now. Another thing is, no matter how good people feel that Aleem and others are, including Roman, we see that the only problem that Cool Boy seems to have had was with Figueroa. Everyone else has not been able to compete with him on a competitive level. And I think the real reason, as the commentators of that night were mentioning, that Brandon Figueroa was able to do that is just based on, the amount of punches he throws and the actual aggression he shows. It's the type of pressure that he was able to put on Stephen that made it an uncomfortable fight for him. The thing of it is, though, guys, I don't know, though, but Cool Boy just, he's a slick boxer and he can outbox you all day, but at least he knows how to keep us entertained. He doesn't give us boring fights. His stuff is still entertaining. Can you tell me something here? Why can't others who are boxers and have the slickness and the skill level, what's going on that they are not able to manufacture that same type of entertainment factor?
Do we want to transition that into Haney? Because I know me and you were kind of saying the same thing. Let's
address this though first.
Okay.
As far as what she's talking about, the reason is because what Fulton brings, and he showed it in that Figueroa fight, and he showed it a little bit in this fight as well, is the fact that he's not just boxing from the outside. He's willing to take it in the trenches.
He's aggressive.
He can fight in the trenches. He can fight on the outside and box and put on a masterful class. He can have a dog fight. He can put it in there and give you a dog fight. He can do all of it and still come out the winner.
It's a lot like Pretty Boy Floyd versus the boring later years of Floyd Mayweather, where he went after you and he was trying to hurt you. Pretty Boy was. Money, not so much. Now, off air.
Wait a minute. Did you just compare Stephen Fulton to Floyd Mayweather?
I was comparing the styles. I was not saying Fulton is Mayweather. I was basically talking about the aggression and the fighting style. No, not comparing those two.
Lucas, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because other people were comparing Haney to one Floyd Money Mayweather this weekend, Rob. And we were just sitting here thinking no. See, because Floyd was actually entertaining while being defensive. And he made you pay when you try to approach him and kind of give him any pressure or a different look, he would make you pay. Mm-hmm. This is not what Haney. I saw with Haney this weekend. So while you were saying that, as well as others comparing him to a Floyd Money Mayweather, you yourself, as a huge Mayweather fan, know that this just not the case.
No, not early on. Early on in Floyd's career, they said the exact same things about Floyd, especially when he was on HBO. Go back to those early takings of Floyd on HBO. They said he needs to make a name for himself. He needs to be more dominant. He needs to have some knockout power. They said everything exactly to a T that they just said about Devin Haney. And what did Mayweather do? He just kept bring him in, he took him out. End of discussion. And just to keep the record straight,
because what we're talking about here is Haney is not at the number of fights that Floyd was when they might have been still in the development stages with him. What we're talking about is Haney as an undisputed champion now. You are no longer allowed to do what you're saying that Floyd Mayweather was doing when he was starting out as a prospect. Come on now.
So that's two different. Go ahead, Lucas.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
To me, that's two different arguments. You're arguing star power versus skill. Okay.
No, it wasn't star power. I said entertaining.
Entertainment and star power. That's the same thing.
I'm talking about no. You're mixing up words. Stop it. I said entertaining in the ring. I said making someone pay when you do try to engage, even as a boxer or a defensive-minded fighter, as Floyd was doing. That does not equal. I'm not saying that you could just be a star. Anybody could just be a celebrity boxer or something like that. What I'm mentioning is the fact that, as an undisputed champion, once you brought into play about an HBO and people giving him critiques, Floyd was not in the number one undisputed category at that time in his career. We are talking about someone like Haney who is advanced in his career now. He cannot be compared to something that people were saying about Floyd when he was just starting out. It's not the same comparability.
Sorry. Let's put in perspective, people. Devin Haney is only 23 years old. Only 23. And he's already the undisputed champion. He's still a young fighter. There's still a ton of fights out there, a ton of competition out there for him yet to face. He has gone through adversity, even in some former fights that he's been through, and he still came out on top in dominant fashion. So,
has he been the underdog?
No,
not yet.
He has not been the underdog yet, and that's a good point. Even he still hasn't even been the underdog yet in a fight, but he's the second youngest undisputed champion ever. So you're not going to sit here and talk about
the belts were already gathered for him, but I'm not saying I completely disagree. I'm simply saying, they made it a little easier for the man. That's
how, Lucas.
How the belts were already together. He didn't have to actually go out and beat other champions. He just had to beat Kambosos to be undisputed. He didn't even have to do what Crawford did, which was beat a whole bunch of people that are lackluster champions. He just went out there and beat
Teofimo Lopez.
I agree with what you're saying, Rob. I'm simply saying they making it easier for him. He ain't actually having to go out here and face some of the elites. When we get on to him versus Tank, him versus other people, let's get back to Brett Reed. Kambosos didn't fight inside Haney's range, not enough aggression. Haney with great defense and counterpunching. Now, he did well with defense, but a lot of times to negate, he wasn't boxing, he was simply holding. There were times that he was good defensively and was making Kambosos miss widely even tripping over his own 2 damn feet. But I think Haney's still holding way too much. I'm the kind of guy who would like to see points start being deducted for that kind of stuff. Now, it's not if you're holding and you're breaking off and you're still fighting, that's one thing.
Away from you.
Holding, yes.
Hold
because the only reason it's being used, and we talked about this before, the only use that he has for it is just to negate his inside game. Kambosos, as soon as he would get in, would either be held. Occasionally he would box and be able to slip outside, but more than anything, it was only used as a tactic to negate Kambosos' shorter range.
Well, we're going to be in argument.
He's not going to be able to do that against more higher tier fighters. Shakur Stevenson, I say, takes him pretty widely. Tank, he gets hit a lot. Even for how defensive he was, Kambosos landed. You have to admit that, Rob.
It was nothing. It was nothing significant. He didn't land any.
It was nothing significant because it was Kambosos. If it is not Kambosos, if we're talking Tank or somebody with some surprising pop,
we're gonna sit here and argue this to forever now.
Hey, we got a while.
Just like we did Floyd Mayweather. Just like we did Floyd Mayweather. You know why? You know why? Because the kid is proving that he is a Floyd Mayweather.
I mean, okay,
no, he hasn't proven that.
I didn't say
Kambosos proves that.
He is proving.
No,
you said
okay. I think for all of us that was able to tune in to what Andre Ward was saying earlier on the Donaire card, they were just briefly going over the Kambosos versus Haney fight, but he led into it by saying what Kambosos had accomplished prior to Haney. But the fact that it was a Tio who is a good fighter, he's not a great fighter. And I mean, I thought Tio was a great fighter up until I saw him against Kambosos. I don't know how much of that was the whole Kambosos being that great and showing up like he should, which he did, versus how bad Lopez looked in that fight. With that being said, we can't just go ahead and make it seem like before this that people slept on Kambosos, that they didn't know who he was. But even after he won this fight against Tio, people still don't necessarily put him higher up in the rankings. We know this because so many people were calling him out, guys, when he got those titles. They all wanted them. They smelt the shark blood in the water. Oh, I shouldn't say shark blood, but they smelt the blood in the water.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah, I mean, but they smelled it, so they wanted the title. They knew it was something that would be easier to get from Kambosos than it would be once it switched hands to one of the other top tier names in that division. So for that reason, I'm feeling like what an accomplishment it is for Haney to get all 4 belts and be undisputed and add his name to the list. However, he got some more explaining to do. And when you are engaged in such a fight in which you got all these amazing boxing fans over there in Australia coming out, and they're there to look, you should be making sure that every last one of them, or as many as possible, when they leave that arena, they are now your fans. And the only way you can do that is if you look damn amazing, and you look not only amazing, but you're entertaining.
I'll tell you what.
He was not. Damn it! I'm getting back to you.
No. Stop. But you're not. No. Yes,
I can, because we just saw Cool Boy Steph do it. He outskilled and outmatched his opponent. He was entertaining, and he still made him pay anytime he tried to advance to him. We did not see that with Haney, and therefore He got some explaining to do.
Different
He
opponent, different weight class.
No superior boxing plan or boxing description from me. And nobody else that is into boxing is going to feel that way either, unless you just sipped a little bit of the Bradley Kool-Aid.
Not true. I'm going to answer
Usually
two
I agree
questions.
with Bradley, too.
I'm going to answer two questions. I'm going to answer Brad Reed's question here, but
Yeah,
I'm going to respond. I'm going to respond to you real quick, Shakura. I am a fan of the sport of boxing, period. I am a fan of boxing. They call it the sweet science. They call it that for a reason. The Mayweather method for so many years, and by the way, Floyd Mayweather is the highest paid boxer in history, was hit and not get hit. What Devin Haney displayed on Saturday was a similar method. To me, it was beautiful. The most beautifulest punch in boxing is the jab. Okay?
Well, you don't say that against Tank. When Tank is fighting, you don't say that.
Can I finish? Is the jab. And he displayed it beautifully on the night. It wasn't just running and holding. He held him off by the jab, and then he burned. He turned him. He burned and turned him. He hit him with 1, 2. He hit him with 2, 3 jab combinations, and he turned him and not get hit. He did beautifully on Saturday night. Now, to answer Brett Reed's question, is there going to be a rematch as in the contract clause? I don't think there should be. Why? Because I don't think if Kambosos is smart, he's not going to beat Devin Haney. Can he make adjustments? Yes, but guess what? So will Haney. And it'll be the same outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the rematch clauses in there. I don't know if he'll actually have that or not. I actually don't think it'll be a big money fight. I think it's bad for Kambosos. I think it's bad for everybody. So honestly, not sure if that one's going to go through or not.
Well, I think that it will, Lucas. And I think the reason why is because can Devin Haney pull half that crowd here in the U.S.?
No. That's a good point. Good point. I mean, yeah, he's got a built-in crowd there in Australia, which is, guaranteed money. And he's kind of piggybacking off Kambosos. Haney doesn't really have that big of a following. And I got to disagree with you, Rob. Like, he had a great jab. I'm not going to lie to you there. But there was way too many times I saw a jab hold. Jab hold. You're all you're doing is negating.
Because he turned him. He turned him.
He turned him sometimes. I've mentioned those. He made him miss. He made him fall over his own 2 feet. I'm agreeing with you there. But Kambosos is, he's not a Lomachenko. He's not able to keep his feet, his balance is out there. He's not known for his footwork. But besides the point, Haney, for me, I don't see what you're talking about with Mayweather. Yes, he's good defensively. He is far from great. He's getting tagged quite often, okay? He's making some simple mistakes. And I think other people, more elites in the division, will be able to capitalize on that. I think T.O. is going to be able to hurt him. I think Shakur Stevenson's going to be able to hurt him. I'm not saying he doesn't belong in the A crowd of the division. I'm simply saying he's the A- in the division. I do believe that Haney's one of the worst elite fighters, if that makes any sense. It's a compliment and a cut down in one. But Rob, I
you're
simply
be
don't.
saying that for a long time. Now put Mr.
We'll see.
Alexander's comments.
We'll see.
Up
I
there.
mean, I've been wrong before. I hope Haney proves me wrong. Brett Reed again. Perhaps Kambosos relying too much on home ground advantage in the lead up played a role. Too much attention to the spotlight. Didn't prep well enough. Then we got Steve Alexander. Haney simply had much more boxing skill and a better fight plan than Kambosos. This was a technical skills fight, and Kambosos could not figure him out. Maybe Kambosos needs a new trainer. I was thinking also, and Sakura made this point off air as well. It seemed like he was just too hesitant. Kambosos was to do what he needed to do. I think he was afraid like maybe Haney could put him out. So he didn't really want to rush in there and make it ugly because deep down, Kambosos knows he ain't the better boxer either, right? Like, that reality has set in. But do you think Sakura, that he's able to just say, for lack of a better word, fuck it, and just do it, in the rematch? Is he just going to go right at him,
I mean, the worst thing you can do is try to outbox the superior boxer. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You're out there trying to outbox somebody that you're never going to be able to exploit that game. So you need to make it dirty and rough, and you need to be very, very willing to pressure that person and get hit to do it. And I don't know what he was scared of on a certain level, because Haney isn't really known for a lot of power like that. And I mean, he made it through a TO fight, and he didn't seem as timid as he was in this fight. My only problem right now with Kambosos and fighting home is he's demonstrated that that's not something that he's able to discipline himself enough to go through. He didn't seem like he was able to focus on his actual craft as much as he is when he's on the road and he's coming in as the B fighter. He took advantage and enjoyed his time in the limelight of finally being able to fight at home, which, you can't blame the man, but at the same time, there's a balance to these things. And that's something that he did not do very well, in my opinion, starting with the whole scale situation. Obviously they came back later and said he wasn't, the scale was off in the hotel, whatever. It wasn't an actual pound that he was over, etc. But it just throws you off your game plan. It's just like one more added thing. And then he tried to cover that up by being like, oh, well, that's what's in my plans. It's like, screw all that. You're about to lose you're defending your unified status. Who cares what people think? You shouldn't have even been out there giving an interview saying that you thought this was a way, to throw Haney off his game. Like, I just felt like he didn't handle that very well fighting at home.
Yeah,
so sometimes these things work against you.
Yeah, I think sometimes the limelight works against you. A little bit of Andy Ruiz situation when he beat Joshua. Sometimes that goes to your head and it plays with you. But Rob, I got to ask you now, because I think I already know it, but I'm going to go around and we're all going to say, but Haney's performance, was it good, great, or meh?
Great.
Great. I assume so. Sakura?
What was the descriptions?
It's good, great, or meh?
Good. He did what he was supposed to do, which is come back to the United States with them titles, with the undisputed status. He did that. But what I'm really hoping doesn't happen is that for every fight, these belts get changed again. So you got a long line of lightweights with undisputed status being joined to this elite class of fighters, right? Because every time that these belts on the line, it's switching hands. So I'm hoping that that's not the case, and somebody is able to defend them for at least one contention.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same. But I am kind of eager, guys. Where do you think Haney goes from here, if there is no rematch? Because we don't know for sure that they're gonna, invoke that, or that it'll be something financially that they'll all sign.
Well, the money fight in the U.S. would be Tank and Haney. Tank versus Haney. That's what it would be. So that's where I would say that's where he needs to go.
Andre Ward said it best. He said that needs to be the next fight. Devin Haney versus Tank. And I agree.
Okay.
That's fair.
I can't believe we agree.
Hey. I mean, I don't think that fight's going to happen, but I would love to see it.
It won't.
Oh, God. I don't even want to switch to this topic, but I think we should. Inoue-Donaire versus Inoue. Man, the monster went monster on him. I woke up getting ready for work, turned it on, and it was about as quick as I could turn it on, going right back off. Inoue got him out of there. Sakura, speak on. You were saying like he didn't seem right. Energy was off.
Yeah, from the moment Donaire walked out of his locker room, I mean, the look on his face and the nervousness, or he was looking like he was about to cry. It put me off. I was like, oh God, what did they just tell him? Like he looked like he had just been told the worst news in the world, walking out to this, fight that he's wanted as a rematch for 2 years. It was shocking to me. I was like, this doesn't look good. Uh-oh. So then I was like, well, maybe I'm imagining. And then, Monster in his post interview, he did say, like, he was like, I felt this power in the first round, so I knew I had to do something. So for those people out there that feel like Donaire don't got it no more, and then Andre was going on about him being old. I didn't see any age per se in those 2 rounds. I just saw a quicker, faster, stronger Monster. I mean, these things happen. He's on the end of his career, let's face it. He is, but he's been knocking people out. He looked like he was in great shape, but it's a new force in town, right? You got a younger, hungrier person standing in front of you, and he knew he had to get Donaire out of there because he's a lingering issue, right? I mean, you talking about 2 years in which people was like, damn, that was a good fight. And, and I want to see it again because Donaire could come out on top this time. I mean, he ain't want that. He ain't want that energy no more. So once he felt Donaire power, and I guess he was like, yep, that shit is still strong. He still got it. And he was just like, he's gotta go. I can't go through 12 rounds. He must have in his mind he made the calculation like, I gotta get him out of here now because I cannot go 12 rounds with him. Because let's face it, the power it lessens the longer the fight goes on, and Nonito is a type where the power lasts through the entire fight. So he just made that calculative decision. So shout out to and congratulations to the Monster Inoue, because I thought he was amazing.
I mean, get somebody like Donaire out of there that early. That says something about you and your career and where you can go. Rob, you got to put this guy in your pound for pound list. No.
So listen. I think Shakura, you were absolutely right. He was emotional, Donaire. He was emotional even after the fight, and I think before the fight, I honestly believe win, lose, or draw, I think he's ready. He was ready to retire on this one. I think this is his going out fight, and that's where the emotions took place. I do not feel like a Hall of Fame fighter like Donaire, it did not affect him in the ring. What affected him in the ring is, let's face it, what this guy is called the Monster. That's what it affected him in the ring, was the Monster. And not just that, like he said himself, he got popped with a good clean shot from Donaire, and Donaire was giving him shots back, and Inoue was like, no, not this time. This is it. As far as Donaire's career goes, we've said this on the show many times. He is the cleanest athlete in all of sports because he's Olympic style tested every fight. With that being said, though, in order to get Donaire in the ring, you also have to agree to said testing. So we know that the Monster is not
also clean.
Is also clean. And that's important because after this fight,
at least during that time,
I wanted to see him get tested. You are not supposed to be that strong at that weight. You are not. They said it all fight. You were just not supposed to be that powerful at that size. And he is just what they said, guys. He's the new Mike Tyson. He is a monster in that division.
Is he on your pound for pound or not?
To put it in perspective,
that's your question.
ESPN has him ranked as high as number 2 pound for pound. The Ring has him right below at number 3. Inoue-Donaire, in my opinion, is at number 5. He is a top 5 pound for pound fighter.
I'm just glad he's on the list. I'm glad he's on the list.
I don't know about his ranking system, but hey, he got him on the pound for pound, guys.
And the reason why he's at number 5, the weight class.
Oh, so you knocked him down a few pegs because he's at a lower weight class.
Yeah, because he's under 130. Remember, he don't give no respect for the under 130.
Yeah, but he just said he was like Tyson. So, I mean, I'm not understanding why he got to get cut low like that because he, cut down 2 notches at least because of that. You said he was Tyson.
He's top 5. Give me a break.
All right, we're going to give you a break on that one because ladies and gentlemen, you just don't understand that Rob has refused to like anyone lower than 130 for quite so many years. Last year, he did break down, though, and he started looking more at lower weight classes, especially once Gervonta Tank Davis got on the scene. So we got to take this. Pound for pound, he got him on the list. I can't believe it.
I mean, I'm ready to fall over.
To defend myself, to tell you why I don't like this weight class, and to speak even further on how highly I am impressed with the monster. Look at the undercard. Look at his brother in the same weight class. The kid landed 20, 30 uppercuts, and nobody even went down in the fight. They didn't even. You're not supposed to be able to land that punch that many times without somebody being decapitated.
Yeah, I saw that he even tripled up one of them uppercuts. He had 3 in a row, and dude was still like,
nobody fell.
So I guess you're trying to say that his younger brother ain't got the same power as Monster.
Not at all.
So let's go back to this comment. What about Cool Boy versus Monster?
That would be a step up. Now,
does he? I mean, he has to have it though, right? There's no one left. He has to move up.
I'm sorry, guys, but no, he has one more thing left. What's that thing, and that's to be undisputed in this division. There's still one title left for him to capture. There's one title out there. That's what should be next. Once he captures that, then listen clear. He needs to work his way up to a caliber fighter in the next division, like Cool Boy. He needs to work his way into that.
That ain't how it works, because when you got the high ranking at one division, they will put you right at number 2 or number 1 contender when you move up.
And that's why people are dropping off the pound for pound list like flies.
Look, I mean, I think as far as everybody else is concerned, he's undisputed anyway. Does that fight really need to happen?
Yes, because he's not undisputed until he fights for that title.
Well, who got that title? I'm confused. Who is this mysterious title holder?
Casimir had it and then lost it. It now went to some guy named Paul. I don't even remember his last name. I've never heard of this guy before. Paul something.
And by the way, Casimir was one of the ones that refused to take the VADA drug testing in order for him and Nonito to fight last year. Remember that?
Yes.
Just want to say that, by the way. And also, Donaire, he partakes in year-round testing. He doesn't even have to have a fight. He's still getting tested. And for these guys to not even want to do it for a time period, it's very telling. Like, it puts him out there right on Front Street to be like, yeah, I wouldn't pass that.
I mean, everybody. I think everybody in this sport is a little tainted. So for the only man, this being the only man to do 24/7, he's the only one really I trust, and I can say for sure that he is, playing fair. Everybody else is suspect to me.
What a class act.
Yeah. And this Paul Butler.
Yeah.
Paul Butler. That's what. Paul Butler.
I don't think it needs to happen.
I see what you're saying.
But if you make it, you make it. I mean, this is a UK fight. I'm sure you could, pack the Wembley with the monster visiting. Mm-hmm. I just don't see the need for it. I would rather see him not waste his prime on that fight. He's undisputed to me. Why don't you go ahead and move up and, fight him more than
he's already almost at undisputed, and this is an elite list that you're on. And then on top of that, this for Butler, I mean, as far as we know, this could be the biggest payday he could ever have. Is fighting for this unification bout. I mean, so we can't, just dismiss the man because we know he might probably particularly would get beat. But that's a payday that he's worked and earned his way up to get that payday too.
Yeah.
I know.
I just don't want to see it. But I mean, man.
Will Cool Boy Steph really stick around for that when he has a whole nother division to conquer? I mean, he's not the only one that's running out of opponents at his division.
I mean, I think it's worth to stay around. I mean, that's a big money fight. Monster versus anybody right now would be a big money fight. And what better to make a name for yourself to take on the monster? But Fulton's got other fights to make. He can try to do the undisputed route as well.
I just wanted to say, as far as that Cool Boy situation, I would have much rather have seen a rematch with Brandon Figueroa than this Roman fight after seeing it. I think that would have been a way more competitive and sensational bout to watch. And I don't know why they wanted to. Well, I do know why, because Roman, they was following the belts, right? So Roman had that title, so they went for that. But I really feel like in any other situation, a rematch would have been in order.
Yeah, but I don't blame him for not taking that fight. That was a brutal fight. Man, I mean, of course I want to watch it again, but I felt bad for both guys after that fight.
Yeah.
Man, it was a good fight though. But he needed a break,
Yeah.
I call it a break, but he went after a title. But you get what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But honestly, the monster needs to move up. Hopefully, then he can at least be undisputed quick, move on up. And I'm not saying go right after Fulton, but there's other fights there.
Please don't go right after Fulton.
Yeah, for
Please
sure.
don't do that.
But guys, Donaire, like, you really think that he had already made up in his mind and before he came out that was going to be his retirement fight? I mean, because I don't think that's the time to be making those decisions. Because if that's the reason why he was looking so emotional and I just don't think it's a good way to like go into the ring. Because although we didn't see any real evidence of it once the fight started, I just don't. That might not be the case for everybody. I mean, do you guys think that that's a good thing to do?
I think sometimes boxers do that. I definitely think Sergio Martinez versus Miguel Cotto was one of those situations. He's like, I'm going out here. This is my last fight. He's already like, I'm probably going to lose. Both my knees are shot. That kind of situation. And if you remember, there was a time in Donaire's career already where he had kind of like said like it was over in his head. He got a second hunger, but his hunger was gone for a while there, and he was just kind of just going about the movements. He wasn't really into it. He got back into it, and I think that first loss from Inoue kind of zapped it out of him. This rematch, he seemed like he wanted, but then when he got there, it was just like, yeah, I'm done. I can't hang anymore. And I think it was kind of a last hurrah for him. I honestly think he's probably going to retire if he hasn't already. In his brain, he at least hasn't said it, out in front of the public and everything.
Home here in the States and have like a home going, retirement type fight, where everybody can give him the accolades he deserves.
So you're saying you want him to at least fight one more time?
Yeah, nobody's serious, I don't want to see him like that again, but the problem with that is you'll have somebody like John Pascal that just keeps coming back, like they know how to win no matter what. So, like, anybody else in the division, he still gives serious problems. So, we'll be like, yeah, this is just champ. This is just your your retirement, your retirement fight. Just like an exhibition type thing, and bam, knock somebody else out, and you're rejuvenized again.
Yeah, I mean it could be it, but yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want him to keep getting in and out and hurt. Let's just have one more retirement fight and be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Rob, deep in thought over there.
So, just a couple of updates on the two that we're talking about right now. So, Stephen Fulton, after his victory now, says that he has his sights set on, and I'm not going to pronounce the name because I'll butcher it, but basically it's the last title holder in his division. So, he has his sights set for undisputed in his division, or
Ahmad Layev. I don't know. Yeah, I butchered it too.
Yeah. So that's what he's looking at.
The fight.
And then the
other
IBF
and WBA.
The other thing that I'm going to shed light on is, according to the Gospel of Boxing Now, ESPN, they now say that Inoue, the monster, is number one pound for pound. They are making that statement now, saying that with this knockout of Donaire, he is now their number one pound for pound fighter on the list.
I put him up there. I won. I mean, he already beat Donaire. Beat him the second time quicker.
Did Haney get on that list by any chance?
It did not. That was the headliner for Inoue's fight. The headliner, Haneys, is just Devin Haney wins, or Devin Haney is undisputed. It did not say anything about Devin Haney being pound for pound or anything like that. It's just saying he is undisputed. Okay. Which, by the way, William Hunter, welcome to the party a little late, but we don't want to hear your boring talk. Okay? We want to give people their flowers. Devin Haney deserves his flowers. He's the undisputed champ. Regardless of what you say. If anything, be mad at Kambosos because he didn't come to fight.
Now, I do want to come back to something you said. You were comparing him to Mayweather, and you said, Mayweather draws the most money, but Mayweather only draws the most money because of his antics really outside the ring and the persona that he made. No, if he was just boring vanilla like Haney has been in his career, you think he would have really sold any tickets?
It's because of everything you're saying about Devin Haney. Oh, he's going to lose if he steps up. He steps up, wins, dominant fashion. He steps up again, wins, dominant fashion. He steps up to Canelo, makes Canelo look like a schoolboy.
What does it say when, two people that fell asleep in the 5th round of that fight?
That means that you obviously don't like the sweet science sport of boxing.
Oh, give me a break. That does not mean that at all. Because as I said, we saw Cool Boy doing just that and still being entertaining. So I don't want to hear that. Will Hunter, you have made the perfect comment because I was just bringing up the fact that I expect Haney to be more entertaining by now. By this point in his career, and the huge opportunity he had to transfer fans from Australia onto his own fan base. It's sad that just didn't never materialize in that fight.
Ask me right now who's gonna win, Haney or Tank. Ask me. Ask me that question.
We already know you're gonna say Tank. What you want us to say?
He might actually pick Haney. What?
I doubt it.
Somebody ask me. I dare you to ask me.
Who's gonna win, Haney or Tank?
It's a draw.
A freaking liar.
Look.
Listen, Tank ain't never gonna have no draw. I can tell you that right now. In his entire career, he ain't never gonna have no draw. That is not something we have to worry about.
Let me ask you this: who do you think is gonna be the A side in that fight?
At this point, right now, Tank.
Who do you think is gonna be the Vegas favorite?
Tank.
All right. And that's for a reason, okay? Kambosos was landing some punches. Now, you got to see that if Tank was landing as many punches as he did, do you don't think he's going to put Haney out? You honestly don't think he's going to – Lenara stunned the guy. You don't think Tank could put him out?
Let me throw some interesting in the mix. Very interesting. And this is hypothetical because it could happen. Will it? Check this out. Tank is a free agent now and moves on from Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather takes on Devin Haney as his new pupil to fight and beat Tank Davis.
This sounds like the script for Creed 3 or something.
Hey, what are you talking about?
This could happen, people.
This ain't gonna happen because
we're like, what's going on? I'm confused.
Remember, they had a spat before because Haney did start training with Mayweather there for a minute. Haney is out of Las Vegas now, and Mayweather took a liking to this kid for obvious reasons. That could happen. Well,
actually, Floyd Sr. has been one of his trainers for many, many years, and he's been in that camp a long time. But I mean, when it came to Haney and Tank just sparring, that was even like that started like some lot of drama and stuff too back in the day. So, power over everything, or is it power and skill together, or is it just skill? Which one's gonna win when they compete against each other? And it seems like it kind of like, it doesn't always say the same. Like in each different matchup, it ends up being one or the other. It's never like the same type of boxer is winning with each opponent, other than if your name was Floyd Money Mayweather. Other than that, nobody else is able to do it. I don't think they come close even in the future. It'll be a different person each time that wins the fight.
And Will, thank you. I think I'm the only one that was saying the ref letting them hold way too much. I was saying earlier they need to start taking points for it. I think it was excessive in this fight, as Rob's shaking his head. But like I said, it wasn't even being held. It was just as soon as he got into range. Like I said, it's only as a tactic to negate not actually using his boxing skill to be able to get back out. Rob, any rapid fire for tonight? We do have some fights coming up this weekend. We got Berlanga versus Alex Angulo, and then we have Munguia. How do you say that name again?
Munguia.
I mess that up all the time. I just say it and my mouth gets confused. Versus Kelly, and we got James going to that fight. So two decent cards. Nothing really that you want to.
Well, Berlanga is on ESPN, and it is Puerto Rican Day, Puerto Rican Day parade. So he, of course, is trying to put himself in that Miguel Cotto stratosphere there with that fight taking on a big fight there in New York, Puerto Rican Day Parade. But got to see the fireworks come back, guys. Got to. We haven't seen in the last couple of fights. He hasn't gotten the knockout, and to me, he hasn't been very impressive.
I agree. You were very high on him, back when he came out of the COVID fights, I like to call them, because he ruled the COVID fight era,
and he did. But you know what I noticed? When you bring out the TS Terror Squad chain in all bedazzled diamonds, and then you tote the new girlfriend on your hip, and you're going on podcasts, and people are calling you champ and endorsing you and everything, and you ain't fought nobody. All you had was a KO streak. That's it. That's what happened to Berlanga. It all went to
you're saying it like you don't covet a KO streak. That's what gets me. You are like the king of KO streaks. You love it. Say I'm lying. So for you to act like that ain't gonna go, that doesn't go to a lot of guys' head, but if you come from nothing and you haven't been used to having anything, and all of a sudden you're getting all this attention and limelight, now your training is going down, right?
Exactly.
You ain't in that gym enough. So exactly. he had better get them chains off his neck and tell homegirl to go home for a couple of weeks or something, because he needs to prioritize. That's what they call it. Try to prioritize and party afterward.
Tell Fat Joe and the Terror Squad, leave you alone.
Now, what you're not going to do is talk about the Terror Squad and Fat Joe, because, they on fight night, they doing what the hell they supposed to do. They back in the Puerto Rican.
They got him on fight night, right? They got him.
That's all they got to do.
But it's all went to his head now. It all went to his head. He thinks it's a freaking Hollywood movie out there where it's scripted and he's supposed to win every time.
I know, but they all from New York, from the same area, so they gonna support each other, ride or die. Damn it, if I was from New York right now, guys, we all be famous by now. We'd actually have people that support you in the area you live in, right? So, I feel like they're gonna do that regardless if their boxer is winning or losing. They support. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean that he needs to lose his focus. And it actually should put more on him to be responsible enough to give these people that are supporting him those W's.
Well, the kid is, according to my search results here, his net worth is only at $1 million, maybe less.
Listen to what you're saying.
You need to up your status. You need to up your status.
I want to tell you what my net worth is right now.
You need to up your status, kid, before you sit there and go on this Ric Flair stylistic lifestyle.
Rob, you got
Camacho. He reminds me of Camacho a lot, except for when it comes to the ring, because he was ready on fight nights.
I was saying, Rob, you got fights near you this weekend too. I'm seeing Alfredo Angulo is fighting there in Atlanta this week, and we need to get you back into the boxing scene there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I had no clue that was happening. But
I know I didn't either until just now. But.
Wow.
A few things that I did want to bring up or mention. So looks like, guys, Charlo fight is postponed with an injury. So Charlo suffers a back injury, and his fight with Sulicki is now postponed. So we won't be seeing that Charlo.
Is that really what happened? Because nobody was trying to see Sulicki against Charlo.
I could see that one falling apart on purpose.
They probably would enjoy yay, he's got an injury. Yes, we don't have to schedule this fight. Thank you.
They're saying it was a back injury. And in bizarre fashion, for some reason in the interview, Oscar De La Hoya says he can't wait to sell Golden Boy Promotions.
Well, yes. He probably means that.
What?
Uh-oh. What's wrong with that? guys. He's not
I'm waiting for
enough to be on go. It would be like, let me see how much I can get for this promotional company that has a well-established brand name. Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I understand like he's not really been there lately, but when he's on, he's on. I mean, Canelo has to credit a lot of his success to the man Oscar De La Hoya. Ryan Garcia, who's fighting this weekend, has to credit a lot of his success to Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, the man can spot talent. Maybe he should keep it, but he should be more of a talent scout of sorts. Maybe let the actual business be ran by somebody. Hire a management, hire a management team. But yeah, if it's left to him and his own devices, he seems to implode a lot. So, good thing, bad thing. Good thing, bad thing.
Negatives that comes with it, because I heard that, they got Ryan Garcia on camera talking to someone saying Empire, and then you got this whole situation where he had people on his payroll that ended up doing more for other people's promotional companies. Now and now you got the situation where he's down. Canelo's dropped him. In order to be more independent, but still holding strong ties with Eddie Hearns. Like, that's a slap in the face. I mean, he might be just freaking tired of all the drama that goes along with owning your own promotional company.
So here's where it is.
That. He's been screwed over quite a bit.
Here's where it is, because this is the risk of Golden Boy, because this is Golden Boy's future. So these are the actual deals that he's trying to make on the table, but he's having an impossible time of making. So he's seeking a matchup between Miguel, however you pronounce it,
Miguel,
and Jermaine Charlo. He's also seeking to get Virgil Ortiz Jr. in against Errol Spence Jr. He also, of course, is looking for the fight for Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Those are the three key fights that he's trying to make, and he's just having a hard time with right now.
Of course. Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, and it's like getting lines for some of those opponents.
For example, they're saying Miguel and Charlo negotiations broke down over who would broadcast the fight. And that was a major blow to Oscar when HBO bowed out of boxing, because he was HBO boxing there for a while.
True, but it would still be a situation where the argument would be whose distribution network would you be using, even if HBO was.
But I think HBO had that following to where they knew that they were going to make money.
Pay the extra money, yeah.
Whereas,
I don't know.
Whereas these unknowns with the DAZNs and all of that,
I mean, it's DAZN and it's Showtime, basically. I mean, those are the two that's right. that would be, trying to negotiate with their promotional companies that they have ties to. So, I mean, in all three of those cases, it looks like a PBC, Al Heyman management situation.
And I haven't seen Al Heyman and Oscar do any business
lately, yeah. And then also, it's like, get in line. Errol Spence, we know what fight is trying to be made for him right now. It's no point in him even bringing up that name at the moment. I mean, Charlo, he's trying to, and Miguel, Charlo is trying to get, at the 160 Canelo money. Who was the third one you mentioned that he was trying to match up?
Well, the Tank and Ryan, Virgil.
Ryan.
Tank and Ryan.
Yes.
Now that fight, from what I understand, can be negotiated.
Yeah.
I like the other night when Ryan lost his money to Errol Spence. That was funny.
He turned around and looked at him like,
yeah, he was like, oh, man.
Yeah. But he has a lot of charisma. Just seeing that little video and everything from the
all of them do, yeah.
Yes, it shows he's really like a fun person to be around,
For sure.
Yeah.
Rob,
If
is
you
that
got
it?
$20,000 laying around for a bet.
Right.
That is it for me tonight.
Right. Definitely want to apologize. We got a little started later than normal, but next week, guys, we're gonna have to go over our previews and predictions for Better BF Joe Smith Jr. I've been looking forward to that fight. That's gonna be very action packed. So definitely don't want to miss that. Again, we air every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we don't pull any punches at all. In case you can't tell by the show. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.